They're researchers, innovators, and entrepreneurs. As part of the EURAXESS Services Network and EURAXESS Worldwide webinar series, we are presenting to you today a topic focusing on the EURAXESS Service Centers' role in welcoming researchers from abroad. We have 5 excellent speakers from the EURAXESS European Network who will each present some of the main services the EURAXESS centers offer to mobile researchers and their family members. But before I give them the floor, let me briefly go down the timeline of EURAXESS. How did it come to existence? What is the connection to the European Commission, and why is it so important for the research community and beyond? As researchers, you may have experienced the struggle of moving abroad to pursue a research career. You may know how cumbersome the process of landing to a new country can be. You may have already felt the uncertainty of not being sure about how to manage basic elements of your life in a different country, such as social security, taxes, or even if your family will adapt. This is why the work of the EURAXESS network of services is key in the implementation of the European research area and the mobility of researchers. EURAXESS, or Access to Europe, was born as ERA-More, a European Commission's initiative almost 20 years ago. Despite the existing support in the EU's framework programs, researchers still experience issues when moving abroad. Many of these issues were caused by lack of access to practical information. ERA-More was launched to support researchers' mobility and soon became the EURAXESS initiative that we know today. The initiative was launched with the high-level objectives of making Europe more attractive for researchers, enhance mobility, and stimulate an increased intersectoral mobility. Back then, the initiative provided support about job opportunities, legal matters, taxation, social security, administrative arrangements, and cultural issues. Fast forward 20 years later, EURAXESS is now a pan-European network backed by 42 countries in Europe and the European Commission, supported by a European portal and 42 national portals, including 8 global hubs located around the world. The EURAXESS network of services counts with 600 support centers and 1,500 staff who take care of more than 450,000 questions, issues, and queries raised by researchers like you who are looking at pursuing a research career in a European country. The mandate of service centers has widened throughout the years to address your needs and gradually remove the barriers to mobility. The services portfolio includes now 18 expertise types. The most recent additions were career support for spouses, career guidance for researchers, and the better integration of researchers into the culture of the host country. The new era, the European Research Area, addresses new challenges and needs like digitalization, entrepreneurship, global networks, closer work with business and civil society. Much has been done to remove the geographical barriers, but challenges still remain. The EU will need at least an estimated 1 million new research jobs in order to increase the research intensity of our economies. Europe requires more cooperation so that the brightest minds work together to make greater impact on societal challenges. It is a challenge for the network of services to assist researchers and ensure that highly skilled and qualified people can move not only across borders, but also across sectors, from academia to industry or vice versa, and disciplines to where their talents can be best employed. The services provided by the EURAXESS network are so important, it can ultimately influence your decision of moving abroad. Hence, if you have questions and concerns about moving to a European country, contact the EURAXESS network of services. You could not be in better hands. And on that note, let me introduce you to my colleagues who will explain in more details how can EURAXESS help. The first speaker today will be Karla Zimanova, who is a national coordinator of EURAXESS Slovakia and the deputy director of SAIA. SAIA stands for the Slovak Academic Information Agency. It is an agency, the agency is a mobility funding agency administering various incoming and outgoing scholarship programs. Karla will introduce to us today the entry conditions and information about visas, which is obviously very, very important for especially third country national researchers who are coming to Europe. Thank you very much for being here. Karla, the floor is yours.
Thank you for inviting me to this session. Now I'll briefly speak what you can expect when you decide to travel to Europe. So once you have decided to take up a research position in Europe, it is time to think about the practical steps related to relocation. One of the administrative issues to think about and carefully plan is visa and residence work permit. Residence or work permit. There is one thing you should know, that there is not a single procedure for the whole European Union regarding visa and residence permit. First, you need to check if visa is required from nationals of your country to enter the specific country. When coming for short-term stays up to 90 days in a 180-day period, the so-called Schengen visa could be used to enter and stay in Schengen area, encompassing 26 countries. Once in Schengen area, you can freely move across borders in the area unless specifically limited. If Schengen visa cannot be used, national visa for entering the country is used typically for longer than 90 days. On top of that, often the residence permit is needed for stays longer than 90 days. Typically, a set of supporting documents need to be submitted along with the application for residence permit. One of the most important documents to be submitted is a transcript of criminal records proving your blamelessness, and often not only from your country of origin, but also from other countries where you have resided. And you need to check what the specific conditions for this particular country are. For Slovakia, for instance, it would be when you have resided in a foreign country more than 90 days in the last 3 years. So this is not unified across Europe and needs to be checked for the particular country and residence permit type. Again, for instance, in Slovakia, researchers are in favorable position and need to only submit criminal records from the single country where they have resided longest in the past 10 years. Such documents needs often a higher authentication, either apostille or superlegalization. Moreover, the translation to national language of the host country is often required, and often there is also the condition to be translated by the official translator certified for those purposes. When referring to Slovak case, sometimes it means that all the whole package of documents need to travel from your country of your current residence to Slovakia and then back to apply for the respective visa residence permit. And please be aware that the supporting documents often that they have the limited validity. So you need to really think about the time frame when preparing your document. Although I mentioned that there is not a unified procedure across Europe, still there is a common framework or official overarching framework for researchers coming from the joint European directive, which is applicable to EU member states except for Ireland and Denmark. It is relevant for stays longer than 90 days, and it allows for smoother application process. Often they come along with it some other benefits. The crucial document here is the hosting agreement signed or concluded between you as a researcher and the hosting institution. And the hosting agreement provides some guarantees for you as a researcher that you are, so to say, welcome in the hosting country. Another benefit of this framework is that you can remain for up to 9 months after your research based on the hosting agreement is concluding, in order so you can try to seek another job or set up a business. Your family members also have some easier procedures to come to join you in your new country. And sort of a novelty is also that you can travel within the EU region more or less freely for longer periods, for some secondments based on again simplified procedures. This is again something that needs to be checked because different countries have different specific interpretation or different procedures applicable. Another common framework that could be applicable to your situation is the EU Blue Card for higher professionals or those who have higher qualification, and they have to have employment contract for at least 1 year, and also there is a condition that the salary needs to be of some level. So this is just a very basic information what you can expect from the European region if when speaking about standardized procedures. However, you can look for more specific information. Definitely, it's good to consult embassies or consulates, but you can look at European or national portals. All EURAXESS countries, EURAXESS members have their national portals available where this specific information could be looked for. And you can also contact EURAXESS centers to clarify all the procedures that should be applicable to your specific case. How many national portals you can expect? As you can see, the information about entry conditions should be available for 42 countries. And sometimes even like some specific features are present on the national portals, like really user-friendly navigation guide, clickable guides, where you can really have customized information for your specific case, or there is like graphic representation of all the procedures that could apply to you. What kind of services you could expect from EURAXESS Service Centers? They can either recommend useful or relevant links to you. They can identify proper customized procedures, list the required documents, remind time frame and registration duties, communicate with national authorities, consulate, embassies, or immigration authorities. They can accompany you to authorities after arrival, or even help you to obtain some supporting documents, for instance, the translation or so. But definitely the portfolio depends on the capacities of the particular EURAXESS center. So that would be all from my side. If you have any question and if you would like to come to Slovakia, you are more than welcome and feel free to get in touch.
Thank you very much, Karla, for your presentation. Now we are going to move to our second presenter, who is Maria Unger. She joined the OEAD, Austria's Agency for Education and Internationalization, 15 years ago, and has been responsible for the representation of OEAD Austria as EURAXESS bridgehead organization and the management of national EURAXESS activities for researchers, providing information and assistance for researchers and students concerning funding opportunities, networking for families of researchers, as well as dual career and integration services are parts of her work. She will present us today more the angle of the daily matters in welcoming researchers to Europe. Maria, the floor is yours. Your microphone, please.
Thank you very much, Vicky, for the introduction. I'm very glad to be here today and have the possibility in this webinar to talk about daily matters and how EURAXESS can support your careers in Europe. When we watch our figures about requests, I'm sorry, I think I can't move my slides.
Yes, we only see the first one.
Yes, I'm very sorry for this.
No worries.
No, it works now.
Yes.
So just a short overview what I'm talking about. I'm talking about some instruments. About the instruments, it's the European portal where you can find a lot of information related to daily matters and also the national portals. I will give you some hints how to find the information. And in the second step, I would like to invite you to visit EURAXESS Centers because they are able to support you further and you can send your requests directly to them. And I will show you how to do that. And finally, I'm going to explain our new networking platform. It's called the EURAXESS Meeting Point Vienna. This graph shows you the numbers of inquiries we received in the last year from researchers from all over the world. And we figured out that accommodation, banking, access to the culture, language courses, or medical care are one of the most requested topics, issues. Yeah, so I think it's very important to cover these topics and guide you through these issues in the foreign countries on your new working place. As I said before, or also Karla explained, the EURAXESS portal, you can find a lot of information on the European portal on the left-hand side in the section Living in Europe. That topics are covered also on the national portal. So if you once have decided to come to Austria, you're welcome to do this. Then you will find all the information related to the specific country, in this case to Austria, on the national portal. The same happens with other countries. 42 national portals can support you. So what is offered? You can find a lot of information about language courses, about accommodation, about daycare, schooling, family issues, about health and medical care, daily life in the new country, and banking, for instance. And more than 600 support centers can support you further on. So I recommend you to visit the portal first, and whenever you have detailed questions, please consult or please write an email to the EURAXESS centers. And of course, all the services are free of charge. So how can you find them? On the EURAXESS portal, in the section Information Assistance, you can find a button where you get leaded or guided to the EURAXESS centers, and you can filter if you would like to know the information from the national point of view or from the institutional point of view. So once you have found a place where you would like to work, contact the institution. If you don't know where to go yet, just go to the national or local or regional site. And you can figure out where all the EURAXESS centers can be found. For instance, here for Austria, or another option would be here for Ireland. Relating accommodation, because this is one of the most requested topic actually, we have figured out some possibilities how you can find accommodation at your new working place. We recommend to get in place at a student house, for instance, at the OEID student housing office, or in the Vienna base. The Vienna base is organized by the city of Vienna. Both options actually to get an accommodation as a researcher in Austria are options for the first part of your stay. And once you get settled in Vienna, for instance, then it's much easier to find a place to stay for a longer time. So that's the way how we can support you. Of course, also the EURAXESS centers have further information. Many of them have guest houses, for instance. Also, banking is very important, and we figured out that the procedures, how to get a bank account, differs from country to country. So you get information on the portal. For instance, in Austria, you need a valid personal ID card or passport or a driving license, and you have to open a current account. We call it Gehaltskonto. But also other topics are interesting and important. It's language courses, it's healthcare, or as I mentioned before, it's family issues. So on our portal, you can find a lot of information about daycare, schooling, and also related topics. In a couple of years, we did a survey and we figured out that one of the most important topic additionally is information about how you can take your pets with you to Austria. So what we did after this survey, we put information on our website and you can find it there. Additionally, we figured out that also it's not so easy to take your to use your driving license in a new country or in Europe. So it's important to know how to convert your driving license from your country to Europe to a European country. And it's also important to know, for instance, for Austria, that it's not enough to have a driving license in your national language. You always have to take also an international driving license with you, or a transcription of the license. And finally, I would like to close my session with this network, or this networking platform we established a couple of years ago, because we figured out that especially social integration is important for international researchers, and international researchers like to get in touch with the local ones. So we created this network based on a website and a Facebook page, with a lot of information on the website related to Vienna. And we organize many events, and we also ask the people, or ask the researchers and their families, their partners, what they would like to have, what or which topics they are interested in. So for instance, we organized visits at museums. We did some curling a couple of years ago. We do joint visits in museums with or without children. We organize PhD cafes, or we organized a tour in the botanical garden, what we did last year because of the pandemic. And we would like, or we would look forward to further meetings in such ways. So if you once have decided to come to Austria, you are welcome. And if you need more information, just let me know. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Maria, for your presentation. Now we are going to move to our third presenter today, who is Emma Day. Emma has worked for Vitae, supporting researcher development for over 15 years in a variety of project management and training and development roles, both in the UK and worldwide. She is one of Vitae's most experienced project managers, with a particular interest in researcher career development and fulfillment, intersectoral mobility, and equality and diversity, particularly gender. Emma, thank you for being with us, and the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. Can I just ask that you allow me to share my screen again? It went off before I could do that.
Yes, we can see your screen.
You can see my slides?
Yes, your slide.
Good. That happens seamlessly. Okay, yes, thank you all for the opportunity of being here today. I'm going to talk a little bit about what we do in the UK around our Career Development Centre. My name's Emma Day. I'm a project manager at Vitae. A little bit about what Vitae do. We work in partnership with the British Council, who are the bridgehead in the UK, drawing on our own experience of careers for researchers, which we've been working in since 1968 in the UK, when it was first identified that there was a specific need to really develop the skills of researchers and the academic community. On the slide, you can see lots of different things that Vitae do around our resources for researchers. We offer a lot of training and development, we do events, and we also do a lot of research innovation and consultancy around researchers and researcher careers, and how really we can foster the best environments for our researchers, both inside and outside of academia, to flourish. Okay, we kind of pride ourselves in working at a number of levels, really. So you can see at the senior management level, we tend to do a lot of work around policy and spot academic trends and ways in which we can support the research community. Whereas for research developers, we offer practical advice and support around ways in which they're training resources and ways they can work with their researchers. We also support PIs and supervisors because we know how important that relationship can be. And finally, for you, the researchers yourselves, we offer a lot of training courses and events, skill development activities, online careers and development resources, and professional development planning tools. So how this works for the Career Development Centre. What we've tried to do is pull together a number of open access resources which are drawn from the Vitae website, but particularly relate to international students and professional and career development. So a real kind of easy way in to getting the resources that we think you need to support your careers. In the UK, we have a lot of Vitae members. So we also highlight resources particularly applicable to our members. We also have a lot of international members. So it may be that the institution that you're at is a Vitae member, which allows you to draw on additional resources. And we highlight some of the services that you can find in UK institutions. So we thought a lot about what good career development looks like for researchers. And I think one of the key things we want to get across is for you to be thinking about that throughout your time in research, to be actively thinking about how you manage your career, where you want to get to, who you might want to network with, and kind of really take a proactive view on that. So firstly, we want you to be able to access the right information about careers that are available. I mean, we know that a career in academia is hard. We know that it's very competitive. We also know that a lot of people, that's their first choice. That's what they'd like to do. So we want to give you as much up-to-date careers information, data, and actual career stories of role models of people that have tried it, worked in different academic disciplines or in different areas that might be useful to you. We really want you to be able to receive advice. So we kind of encourage you to think about what you're good at. And I know that's very, very difficult, but you are a fabulously talented group of individuals. And I think it's really important that you reflect on and articulate the skills that you have and are able to, to shout about them. And like I say, we want you to take advantage of that career development process. You need to manage your own career development, and it can often be the thing that gets neglected because we appreciate you're very busy, but it's really important that you take the time to do that. So around personal guidance, please seek out within your institution careers advice, particularly for research, and think about things that are useful. And if there are any schemes like mentoring schemes that you can get involved in, do. Seek out any events that are being put on locally, and think about the communication activities. Maria said in her presentation about we know that researchers can be quite isolated, so think about the links that you can build and how you can do that to prevent isolation and to build your networks up for your future career. And finally, we want to see, we're still finding out a lot of information within EURAXESS about European researchers, where they go, where they're working. We haven't got the full picture yet, so please, we encourage you to take part in any surveys or monitoring that we're doing and feedback so we can continue to build our picture. So what the Career Development Centre actually looks like then on the VTI website. So it's an online platform, so it's accessible for all. It's as with all EURAXESS resources, it's free and available and there for you to use, so I urge you to look at it. I'd love to have more time to take you through it today, but we're pushed, so please find the time to look at it. So if you look at the 6 different boxes, the first is planning. These are tools to help you manage your career. So for you to look at and think about what you might like to do, think about how you present yourself, think about your CV. I know it's often the thing that nobody wants to do, but both academic CVs and non-academic CVs, and start to plan your development. And even if that's not concrete yet, start to think about, you'll know areas you definitely don't want to work in or things that particularly interest you. So there's lots of tools, resources and things for you to think about there about planning. The second box in the middle is developing as a professional. And that's where you'll find the VTI RDF, which is, you may have seen it or you may not, but it's 63 identified competencies of researchers. And what I'd ask you to do is look at it and map where you perhaps are strong, where you think you have lots of skills, and where perhaps you need to be working on your skills. So again, you can plan and manage your own development as a researcher. The third box at the top is about direction. So it's about ideas around academic careers, around non-academic careers, careers outside of higher education, and lots of stories. We think we've got over 150 career stories on there. So, there will be somebody on there that you can read about, identify with, and maybe take some inspiration from. And then moving on to the bottom box, which is about inspiration. So we tend to change these. So we try and focus on different people that, again, might be of interest to you and might just give you a spur as to your future career and what you might like to do. Then we signpost to kind of the more practical, which is the UK kind of career development support. So that's, we're very aware that with international students, there are more barriers, particularly to working in the UK, and we're trying to iron out those visa issues and try and make it as easy as possible. But we know they're there, and we want to support you as researchers in doing that. And then finally, we signpost some additional resources. Some of them are member only, but we're trying to kind of break that down. Again, I would also urge you to look at the Careers Beyond Academia on the EURAXESS portal, because that has some really good profiles of other areas outside of academia where researchers are working and still carrying out research and thriving and reporting as very happy and very successful, that again might just give you some inspiration going forward. I think that draws my very brief presentation to a conclusion. I would, as I say, urge you to have a look at the resources that are available. And like I say, my big takeaway would be, please, to try and manage your own careers, because it's a tough market, but it is an achievable goal to get wherever it is you want to get to, but it will take a bit of management. So if you have any questions, please feel free to email me. And thank you for the opportunity to talk to you today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Emma, for your presentation. As you said, we could talk for hours about career development, but this is just to shortly introduce so that researchers know that the EURAXESS network does cover that as well. So thank you so much. Our next speaker today will be Mark de Vos. He's a Dutch anthropologist and has been working during the last 9 years as senior global mobility consultant at the University of Copenhagen in Denmark. And he's also bridgehead for EURAXESS Denmark. He started a successful dual career program at the university, and he initiated the international dual career network Copenhagen by organizing, developing, and implementing the IDCN chapter from scratch. Mark will talk mainly about the dual careers, obviously, where he has a lot of experience, one of the newest parts of the EURAXESS services that we offer. Thank you very much, Mark, for being with us, and the floor is yours.
Hi, Vicky, can you hear me?
Yes.
Good. Thank you so much for a nice introduction. Thank you very much, everybody else, for introducing yourselves and the interesting work EURAXESS is doing. So this is a big hi from Denmark. As Vicky said, my name is Mark. I'm originally from the Netherlands. I've been here for 16 years, so I know how it is to adapt to the Scandinavian life. I'm trying, I speak the language, so it will be fine now. As you can see on the first slide, this is what Denmark has to offer. It's a great combination between beer and Lego and the Royal House and the Danish design. But not so much about that today. Today it's about dual career services. So all of you are traveling and moving out somewhere in Europe and working somewhere else. When you bring your girlfriend, boyfriend, husband or wife, so listen carefully because this information could be very useful for you. So I'm working at the University of Copenhagen. We are a very old university. We have around 40,000 students. We have 9,000 employees and 5,000 scientists. International researchers, meaning in our understanding non-Danes, we have 3,000 of those, and 37% they bring a spouse. When I say spouse, we mean husband, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend. We don't care. We help everybody who is coming along with the researchers we employ. I work in international staff mobility. We have 14 consultants and 2 junior staff, and we are a EURAXESS center. We have 9 EURAXESS centers in Denmark, and we have one of them, and I am the BHO. So those international researchers, where do they come from? We have, most of them are from Germany, then from Italy, China, and you can read the slides. The next slide, I mean. All the people you see on this slide, they are hired by us, so the visiting researchers, they are not part of this number. So we have a lot of those as well. So international staff mobility, or a EURAXESS center. So what do we do? When you see at the bottom of the slide, it says dual career services, which means that everything we do for our researchers, we also offer this for the spouses. So what do? We give advice and information on living and working in Denmark, and we give cultural expertise. Personally, I'm a cultural anthropologist, and we have more cultural specialists in our team. So we help people to understand the, sometimes for some people, difficult Danish culture, or different at least. We help by giving and working and residence permits, or at least applying for those, EU registration, research taxation. We also help PhD students because when they come to Denmark, we also send them out to other countries again, mostly to the US. We also give them information on how to deal with this move to the US. We also organize a lot of events and excursions, which we find very important because when you travel to Denmark or to any other European country and you're not really familiar with that, it's nice to create a network. So by organizing these events and excursions, we provide with a network with other international but also national researchers. So why dual career services? Why a dual career program? 9 years ago, I was hired to set up our dual career program. We did that because more and more researchers, when they were coming to the University of Copenhagen for their to apply for the job for For the interview, they said, so what do you do for my wife or husband? And at that time, we didn't do anything. And they said, maybe we go somewhere else where they offer some help. There was one issue. Another issue is those professors we already hired, some of them, they left after 6 months, after 1 year, because the partner was not satisfied. That was an issue. And it's understandable when you come from abroad and you come here, the researcher, he or she has a job, but the partner has to start from scratch. That can be hard. And that's what we are helping with. When we started 9 years ago, the first thing we asked all the spouses, so what do you need? What are your problems? What do you expect from us? And most of them said, we would like to meet somebody who can help us. Some of these people, they come here, they give up their career, they have to invent a new career, they don't speak the language, so they would like to have a one-on-one session. And that's what we offer at the University of Copenhagen, but I also know at many other European institutions, this is a growing subject. More and more universities are helping the spouses right now. So some of the numbers in our dual career spouse network at the University of Copenhagen, we have 1.5 people working with this. We help everybody. So all the PhDs and postdocs and professors, we help them with our services. We have around 650 active spouses being part of our network, and we send a newsletter out every single month. We give 250 individual coaching sessions every year, which is a lot, but this is also very important. So where do they come from? Our spouses come from all over the world. Not a surprise. Some more facts and numbers. 65% of the people we help are female, and around 50% come from Europe, 50% come from outside Europe. So what do? The networks. We have a dual career spouse network which organizes career lunches. And these career lunches are interesting because we invite a recruitment consultant from a private company, and they will explain how to find a job in Denmark, how to apply for a job in that specific organization. Very useful. We organize kids events for the people having kids. Some of them are not interested in finding a job yet, so then we organize kids events for them. Spouse Job Seekers Network. This is organized by the spouses themselves. They are interested to show each other their CV. They are interested in showing each other jobs they found so they can talk about it with each other, and we provide some help so that they can be in a room, but also get some interesting speakers. And finally, we create the International Dual Career Network. More about that right now. The International Dual Career Network, IDCN, it was started 10 years ago by Nestlé in Switzerland. They did that because they are sending their employees out all over the world, but they also would like to give their spouses a network. And that's why they started IDCN 10 years ago. And now they are in 14 locations, including Denmark. We have 2 locations. In Copenhagen, we started this in 2016. We are very proud of this because it's growing and very successful. Right now, we have 23 corporate members. So as you can see, many of those are bigger companies, interesting companies to work for. So hopefully, and that also happens, when the spouses meet each other from these different companies and organizations, they are already a network for each other. Every single company becoming a member pays 1,000 euros a month. It's only the company, not the spouses, not the employees. And with this money, IDCN will organize it. The website is there, but they also have 2 employees. I will come back to that on the next slide. Here you can see the global board. All these people working here, including myself, yay, I became the global president 2 years ago. All these people work for bigger companies in different European countries. These people, they all do it kind of voluntary because we believe in the case that we need to help our spouses. This is a very important job. And these 2 people, Shivani and Damien, they are hired by IDCN. So the 1,000 euros organizations pay a year, that money is going to them for their salary. And they're the backbone of IDCN. So what is IDCN? What are we doing? It is all bound up on organizing events. An organization or a company, you open your doors and you organize an event. Here, an example of the events we organized in Copenhagen before Corona hit the world, so we could meet physically, but now everything went online. So you can see different organizations open their doors with different topics, but everything is organized by the spouses themselves. And it's organized in this way. We have 5 committees: the partner committee, events committee, communications, membership, and measurements. Voluntary spouses, they work here and they do all the work. One thing is that because of their work, they get some more competencies, which they can put on their CV. And on the other hand, they get a network while working. It works out very well. In Copenhagen, we get 4 spouses a month to get a job. During the Corona times, right now, hopefully it's soon over, we organized a lot of webinars. So it works well in IDCN, but it's all about the people you see on the screen here. This picture was taken 1.5 years ago, and none of these spouses is part of IDCN more because they all got a job. And that's what it's all about. You become part of IDCN, you work on your competencies, you get colleagues, you get a network, and then you find a job. So finally, dual career services within EURAXESS. We are also actively working on that. We made an analysis of dual career services 3 years ago with 6 other countries who also have a lot of experience with working with dual career services. Denmark and Norway were part of this one, Holland and Germany, and Austria and Switzerland. Because in those countries, a lot of European universities are working with dual career services. So we wrote down what we are working with and how we can help the researchers and their family. And finally, right now we are in a project where we are organizing a twinning. So different universities, they can talk to each other and find out, how do you help your researchers and spouses? How do we do that? And we try to learn from each other. So basically, what I would like to tell you is that when you travel to another European research organization or university, don't be afraid to take your partner with you, because there is a lot of help. So thank you so much for everything, and over to Vicky.
Thank you very much, Mark, for your presentation. It was very insightful, and I'm very excited about this new feature that EURAXESS offers. Last but not least, I would like to introduce Sibylle. Sibylle Hodel is Deputy Head of EU Grants Access and EURAXESS Zurich. EU Grants Access is a joint office of ETH Zurich and the University of Zurich, advising researchers on funding opportunities and career options for more than 20 years. Her extensive project management and coaching skills have led her to become a trainer for Marie Curie Fellows, ERC grantees, and other postdocs at the 2 universities in Zurich. She was a project coordinator for the project Diversity Management Plan for the University of Zurich between 2017 and 2020. I'm saying that especially because this is the topic of her presentation today. She will enlighten us about the diversity management within EURAXESS. Thank you, Sibylle, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Vicky, for this nice introduction. Can you hear me and can you see the slides?
Yes.
Good, great. So warm welcome to you out there. It is my pleasure to talk about something that is also newer for us, for the EURAXESS network, and it's the diversity management. So I cannot go to the next slide, but I'll try again. Okay. So we as a network have some projects to help you even better in the future, advising and integrating you even better into our institutions when you come to our European countries. So how do we do that? We have best practice projects, and one of them is Top 4, and we come up with a diversity management tool for everyone who is working in EURAXESS to know how to even better serve you and your family and whoever you also will bring to the country with you. So what did we do? We collected studies and reports, guidelines on a national level dealing with diversity. we had lots of focus groups, and we will come up with recommendations on how to even be more aware on diversity and inclusion matters. So our partners in this newer aspect of the EURAXESS network were Bulgaria, Sofia University, Belgium, the University of Liège, then Denmark, the University of Copenhagen, and we got some input from Finland and also the British Council as linked third parties. So we take this all very seriously because we want to find out what researchers need and how we can address these needs even better. So what does that mean, diversity and inclusion? These sound like very theoretical things, but actually they're not, because diversity is a concept that integrates the idea of variety and disparity. The focus lies on differences and similarities. So it is normal to have diversity around us, and inclusion is a way to deal with this diversity. And our goal is to adjust structures and processes to work for more inclusion instead of stereotyping and creating minorities. So what are the typical topics that we also found we want to deal with even more in our network to address your needs? The first one, not surprisingly, is gender. It is still a big difference if you're a female international researcher or a male international researcher. You might have different needs. You might have different needs when you come with a family, but also we still have to integrate more female researchers into the university, the academic world as such. And we're working on this with webinars, especially for women, and addressing women more directly, and also helping them to get even better positions at the institutions. Then a newer topic is the LGBT+. That's the one on sexual orientation. Nobody should be disrespected because of his sexual orientation or her sexual orientation. We have associations at the universities now that also deal with these aspects and raise awareness at the universities. Then a maybe surprising one for you is age, because usually the researchers, the mobile researchers, are young or younger. But be aware that also in the age group of when you want to start a family or when you have a really tough work-life balance, it might also be a topic that in this age group you need some more help or other advice. And also nobody should be should face problems because he or she is older because of age. Then class, this is also a newer topic to talk about, but this is of course very important. Everyone should have the opportunity to access the university. We also here in Switzerland work on programs for the ones that are less fortunate. We have more fellowships on this. And then what we in the focus group interviews also found that it's not only external factors, but internal factors, so that a lot of younger people or children, they don't even think of going to the university because they belong to a certain class. So this is something we take also very seriously, so to include everyone from society. Then origin is a very important one, of course. You come to Europe with different backgrounds, ethnic, religious backgrounds. Everyone should be included, and it shouldn't be something that you see and perceive as negative. Here in Switzerland, for example, when you belong to a minority group or from a migrant family. When you're from a migrant family, you have even more problems with the languages. We speak a lot of languages here in Switzerland, German, French, Italian. So you might be in need of more language courses even. And this is also something to consider. And then also special needs, disabilities, that all institutions in Europe also think of barrier-free campuses, and that this is a status quo hopefully soon in the future. So why did we take this up in EURAXESS? I mean, we talked about very practical aspects, and this is a bit, yeah, like a societal change. Why do we take this up in EURAXESS? Well, it shifted a bit from gender issues to a broader understanding of diversity. It's gender as a factor, but then there's also other aspects that I told you just before about. And diversity and inclusion also has to become, or is already, a strategy for institutions. It's also something that the Commission asks the institutions to do. There's the need of gender plans, equality plans. So this is something you can expect from modern institutions, to think about inclusion. And interestingly, it was pushed by the private sector. So you see that diversity issues are not just nice to have assets, but it is really an economic asset, because diverse teams are stronger and fitter. The studies show it. So we have to and want to address also the topics in the European institutions even better. And when international researchers come to us, and when you are also looking for jobs, you can expect that this is an integral part of our job to also think of these aspects. So in EURAXESS, we came up with this 4-step snowball effect that works, I think, for everyone, because first you have to inform yourself on this topic. You have, we will have the results ready. What is it about in different countries? What kind of topics do you face when you talk on diversity and inclusion? You have the chance to educate yourself. There's webinars, there's so-called bias trainings, and you can reflect your own patterns and behaviors. And you can also ask at your institution, is there a plan? Is there a strategy? And here I really see also a change in the way of thinking at the European institutions, because it used to be something, oh, diversity, of course we are diverse, but nowadays you really think about it a little more. And it's not about having stereotypes as a bad thing only, because we all have our stereotypes in our minds. It doesn't have to be a bad thing, but to be more aware of them, and maybe also to reflect on in one way or the other. And then, of course, act upon it. You as a researcher know who to turn to. You can also hopefully expect a diverse atmosphere at your institute. And we as EURAXESS, we integrate it in our work, and we hopefully are also role models in our team and for our teams, because we think about these aspects. So I put this statement here because I think this sums it up, what we want to say with it, because when you say, oh, we have no problem with diversity, it is not the same as creating an affirmatively diverse institution. The first reaction is usually that people say, oh, we don't have a problem with it, but it doesn't. But this is something different when you raise awareness on this topic and reflect and act upon it. So we at ETH, we are working with 5 values. its responsibility, openness, diversity, team spirit, and excellence. So I also find it a good idea that that team leaders here at ETH who follow an exemplary leadership policy may be nominated for an award. And this is also promoted widely. So I gave you the links here for 2 little YouTube videos, and they're very short. They're 2.5 minutes, but because we're short in time here, please have a look at it afterwards, because it really sums up what a diverse atmosphere and situation can look like. And I would like to end with these 2 pictures. So a big hello, of course, from Zurich. And on the left side, you see a photo from one of our conferences we had in Zurich. You see the ETH logo and the EURAXESS logo. And we look forward in welcoming researchers, stakeholders again in Zurich, because not only this topic, but I think all the topics we talked about, it is about sharing, it is about meeting, it is about networking and getting information. And this is, of course, the way to do it. So hopefully, again, soon in person, but now over the screen. And I give back to you, Vicky.